As you guys probably saw my message in Discord, and if you guys were on the markets this week or on the charts this week, it was a boring week. It was slow. Not a lot of opportunity. Um, we can maybe go into technicals at the end, but to be honest with you, I don't even know what I'd cover because from my end at least, it was not a very fun week or exciting week, I guess you could say. There wasn't a lot of opportunity, and it is what it is, right? That's how trading is sometimes. These are the weeks, believe it or not, these are the weeks that count the most. Um, if you are able to keep your losses small, or even be in the green a touch or be BE, that's a massive win on its own. There's a lot of traders, a lot of very good traders I know personally, um, that were down bad this week. Not even just down bad, or just in the red this week. And that's again, these are the weeks that count the most. Capital preservation. When conditions aren't, and we talked about this briefly during the week in the Discord, but when the conditions are good and there's entries left, right, and center, and the direction seems pretty consistent and easy, not easy, but consistent on a daily basis, it's 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 not hard to be finding these trades, right? And staying in the positive. It's very hard to stay in the positive or keep your P&L up when these weeks come along, right? So again, capital preservation is key during these times. My mic has been far from my mouth. Can you hear me all right?
Perfect, bro.
Yeah, nice. Um, but yeah, again, believe it or not, these weeks count the most. Slow week, capital preservation. Because again, the thing is, let's just say this is the third week of March, the one we just had. Week one and two, there's a couple opportunities week one, a couple opportunities week two, and you end up having a good 2 weeks. All right, you're up quite a bit. Let's just say you're up like 6-7% on a challenge even. And then this week comes along, right? You come into this week with the mindset of all I need is another 1 or 2% to pass my challenge, and you get antsy, right? Like, oh, I just want to pass this challenge, move on to the next stage, or receive my funded account, start making some money. Um, but again, then this week comes along, right? Conditions are shit. Higher time frames are kind of building liquidity. Um, and the next thing you know is you start forcing trades, right? Because you want to pass this challenge, right? You only need 1 or 2%. So you start forcing some trades, taking setups that you wouldn't usually take, falling off your plan a little bit, taking trades not really based off the system, but taking a trade just hoping it'll win so you could pass that 1 or 2% and receive that next stage or funded account. Next thing you know, you finish the week off and it's you're -4 or 5%. The hard work you just put in through the last 2 weeks are completely wiped out in the matter of a couple days or even just a week. Um, so yeah, these are the weeks that count the most, guys. I promise you. Like, and once you get to a more experienced level, you understand that like when you show up to the computer, for myself at least, and maybe you can, I can speak for a couple other guys in the group, but when I show up to the computer and I turn on my charts, I pull up my pairs, I go through the couple pairs on my watch list, um, right then and there, I have a good feeling already if it's going to be a trading day or not. Um, if the higher time frames aren't really telling me too much, I don't really have a good sense of direction or bias. There is no need to hop into the lower time frames and try and find an entry in the lower time frames. Don't get me wrong, with the benefit of hindsight, you can go into the lower time frames and always pinpoint, not well, not always, but most of the time pinpoint there was an entry here, there was an entry there, there's an entry here. But the thing is, you have to put yourself in this position where you got to position yourself in the most highest probable conditions. Meaning, when you hop on the charts and you have these higher time frames in front of you, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, or even the 15 minutes sometimes on an intraday basis, and you don't have a good idea of where price is heading, what the next direction is going to be, where New York's going to be heading to next, but you still hop into the 5 minute, 1 minute, you're just setting yourself up for failure. And again, of course, you going back to that's why backtesting is almost dangerous sometimes. Not dangerous, but it can kind of screw with your mental a bit because it's all hindsight, right? So you can see all these trades left, right, and center. Oh, in the 1 minute there was something here. This time frame there was something there. Um, but again, you have to remember you have to train yourself to do these things in live time in live conditions, and that's where the higher time frames help the most. right? The lower time frame could look pitch perfect sometimes, but if the direction is not correct, your entries in the lower time frame will get disrespected and they'll be invalid every single time. Okay? And you got to think about what that does. If you're taking trades on the lower time frames only, completely neglecting what's going on in the higher, what it's going to do is it's like a chain reaction. You'll ruin your confidence, right? Because let's say there's this entry model or a specific type of entry you always look for, and it keeps getting disrespected over and over and over and over and over because you don't know what's going on in the higher time frames. That's going to destroy your confidence. It's going to destroy your mental. Then when the actual trade comes along, right? The actual trade, the direction's correct, your entry's there, but you don't pull the trigger, right? Your confidence is not there. Or maybe you do pull the trigger, but you mismanage the trade. You close early, or you roll your stop too quick because you have that fear. And again, that fear of the shit trades you were taking a couple other trades ago. So all this shit goes hand in hand. And again, that's why this higher time frame shit, this having that direction in mind is so important. Um, when you hop on the charts and you take a look at these higher time frames and you don't see much, you either shut it off or you come back in another hour and a half maybe, see if something has come along, maybe a little move has happened, and now the picture is clear. You have a good idea where price is heading next, then hop into the lower time frames, no problem. But if you have no idea where price is going and you're just sitting there and you're confused, you're like, okay, there's liquidity here, there's liquidity there, I don't know where we keep heading to next, and then you hop into the lower time frames. Oh man, you're just gonna kill yourself. You are just gonna ruin your balance like that. Um, but yeah, just a little spiel to start. But yeah, this call, like I said, is for you guys. So we either have a 15-minute call today or we have a good little chat on our hands. So questions, talk to me. This is your time. The guys that ask questions during the week, and it's hard sometimes in the Discord to answer all the questions, right? Because there's only so much we can do um, over text, right? Over typing and stuff. So that's why these calls are so important. Any questions that you have during the week that you're still uncertain with, bring them to these webinars. Okay, bring them to these calls. Ask questions because this is where I can clear the air the most. All right, so you've already answered my question. What was your question? It's good to know. I already answered it at least. Hopefully, that means there was a little bit of value in what I was saying, which is nice. Staying patient in bad market conditions. It is a killer. It is a killer. Eventually you'll learn to like. So this is something I'm trying to integrate into my trading too. Is when conditions aren't like my favorite, like when things aren't super clean, you don't love what you see. It doesn't hurt to just size down, take some risk off your trades if you are trading. Um, build build a buffer with those smaller trades, right? Sure, the P&L won't be too big, but those small trades over time, they'll total up, they'll total up. And then when those nice trades come along, you size up again, right? Use that dynamic risk. Again, dynamic risk isn't really the easiest thing for the newer side of traders. But as you progress and as you have more experience and more confidence, you'll learn that like there's certain conditions where you should be cutting the risk down a little bit, and then when conditions are high and you love the setup in front of you, you're confident in it again through all the experience and all those reps you put in, then you can size up more. Staying more on higher time frame, lower time frame entices a lot. That's all it does, man. It's literally all it does. You gotta ask yourself, like, when what's the point of going into the lower time frames at all if you don't know where price is going in the higher? Like, logically, it makes no sense. All you're doing is going to lower time frames to induce yourself to take some stupid trades. Just want to build the muscle sitting on the hands instead of taking high risk, low prob trades. That's it. That's it. There's okay. So the thing is, like, and I watched this recently in one of Riz's podcasts. I don't remember who it was. I don't think it was Lance. Maybe the guy before. But the thing is, you don't always have to wait for the A plus setup because realistically, your A plus plus setup is not going to come along too many times in a month. Maybe once, maybe twice a month, right? But when they do come along, you want to take advantage of those, of course, right? Because that's when the P&L can look pretty on those setups that you're super confident in. And again, maybe right now you don't feel too confident in these setups. That's just because it's a lack of reps, a lack of experience. As you build experience and you get those reps in, those confidence will naturally just rise. So when those setups do come along, you feel comfortable to expose yourself to more risk, size in a little bit more, right? But yeah, what I was getting at is you're not always going to have A plus setups, and if you're only waiting for A plus setups, it's not a bad way of trading, but it's not an easy way of trading. Um, I think it's important to be taking any setups that follow the system. Period. Some are not going to look the prettiest sometimes, and some are going to look pitch perfect. Some are going to work, some aren't going to work. Even the ones that look the most beautiful sometimes aren't going to work sometimes. Okay, that's trading. That's probabilities, right? But I feel like getting your reps in, even on the trades that don't look the prettiest, you build that consistency. Again, some are going to lose, some are going to win. If you're playing the numbers game correctly, those B plus, those A minus trades will build a buffer in your account, right? Slowly, slowly but surely. And then once your account's in the positive, you got to put it in the mindset of any risk you put on the trades now is just the market's money, right? It's not even your money; it's risk free, right? So this you got to get yourself into that your mind at ease where any future trades you make, it's the market's money that you're risking. It's not even yours. So what's the big deal? Worst case scenario, trade loses, and you lose no money basically. You just lose what the market gave you before. That's it. So you don't lose anything personally. You got to get yourself in that mindset of that. So these again, these B plus A minus trades are good to take. Builds consistency. Okay, um, builds a little bit of a buffer in your account. And then when those A plus setups come along, and I believe like Lance in the podcast, he referred to them as um, his pocket aces. When your pocket aces come along, that's when you learn to um, size up and expose yourself to more risk. And again, not all the time are those going to win, but when they do win, your those weeks and those months are going to look very green. All right, that's something I'm working on personally right now. So I got to get my reps in, build more confidence in the exposing myself to more risk. Love your passion, Eddie, for trading market. Always, brother. Always. I love the game. Always. Well, always gonna be a student of the game. Always. I'm always looking to learn more, refine more. That's why recently I haven't been a big podcast guy, or even reading books, but more recently I've been um, eager to learn from these top dogs. You got to think about it. These guys live the life that most of you probably want to live, right? If you think about it, these guys trade for a living. They do very well for themselves, obviously. Um, but they have that freedom, right? And I assume that's what most of you guys are in this industry for, in this game for, to provide for your families and have that freedom in your life, right? So why not watch and learn from these guys, right? They've been through all these they put the years in, right? They've made mistakes, learned from those mistakes, so they know the route you guys should be taking, the path you should be taking. So that's what I've been doing recently is watching a lot of these podcasts. Haven't read any books, unfortunately, um, but I'm gonna get on the audiobook grind soon enough for sure. I can trade both the London session and New York session. Do you have a risk plan I could use for both? Sometimes a loss in London leads to an unavoidable loss going to New York. Okay, my opinion. Excuse me right now. I don't know why. I feel like it's a allergy season that's coming along over here, so my nose is getting all friggin' stuffy. But forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name correct, but Bilal, I don't know. I'm sorry, bro. I'm bad with names. But if you have access to trade both sessions, my opinion, only trade one. Choose one. Okay? And I don't just mean trade one for 2 weeks, switch to the other for 2 weeks. Trade one and test it out for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Okay? You need like a good time frame of data, a good time window of data. Okay? 2 weeks won't be enough. So a couple months at least of sticking to a specific plan, a specific time window, risk, all these things. Right? So um, in my experience, I prefer New York. Um, but that probably also has to do with the fact that I live in Canada and London is very difficult to trade over here, time wise. So my again, short answer is try and trade just one. Stick to one. Okay, so if you like London a little bit more than New York, trade London. That's it, and focus on that for a couple months. See how it plays out for you. If you want to only trade New York, try it out for a couple months. See how it works for you. With experience, can we take trades that we know are traps up to our points of interest? I know it is very advanced and sometimes risky, but if you have a good buffer, do you somehow approve these trades? Okay, that's actually a decent question. If it's what I think you're talking about, let me share my screen and make sure. Where is share? Okay, so I'm gonna assume. Let's just go to a naked chart. Let me get the chat open here. Just so I can make sure I understand your question. Let me draw this out. So, okay, let's set ourselves at this position right here. What can we see? I'm gonna mark this out as picture this as price running liquidity from the left-hand side. All right, move this over a bit. Okay, so we've taken liquidity from the left-hand side. Very simple stuff. We can see that we've left structural liquidity up here. Okay. Um, maybe a possible entry down here somehow takes the low, right? Chops buyers, runs below this low, and then springs to the upside. Okay. Now, what occurs is we have now taken out this high. Okay. We are now also starting to trade within this area here. And we're going to look at this as a trap. Why? There's liquidity above. Okay. We want to see price above these highs. So use this to your advantage. What do I mean by that? We identified this as liquidity, which means this is a possible high right here that price could be running to. Okay. This is where seller liquidity is going to be resting. So if we get a false reaction from this area, that's only going to provide us an opportunity to buy into. Now, this is where a lot of people get stuck sometimes. And even myself, these are not my favorite trades. So this is where I'm going to tap into your question probably. But there's a lot of times price will do this. Okay. Um, something like this. And now we come down to this low. What we see is we have a liquidity block here. If I ever take trades like this, I get very particular with them and I need to see specific things occur. Meaning, we see this as an inducement low. Okay. What else can we see? High was taken here. So pattern wise, this is going to be an area buyers want to trade from, right? But from a liquidity standpoint, if price now does this, I like this now. Why? Because we've now induced buyers. Okay. And where have we now left liquidity? Below this red box. Okay. Because this is where buyers are now induced from. Right? What do I mean by that? BOS to upside. Which now tells me if we get a pullback down to the lows, this is where buyers will be buying from. But this is going to be known as a trap. Every red box here is a trap, of course. So what tends to happen is price will come down, false reaction, and then this occurs. And a lot of people miss this trade sometimes. These aren't my favorite, but you always have to understand from a liquidity standpoint, it makes complete sense. Okay? Again, liquidity to the upside. This is the direction we need. We want price to these highs. All right? Now, follow along with price. Why did we respect this low and move away? It was a liquidity block. So there was no low, or sorry, no liquidity below this low at the time. So price came down, respected this area. This is where your buy entry can be, and we trade higher. Now remember, we always need to add, we always need to add logic to our analysis. What do I mean by that? We take the entry here, sure, but do we have liquidity target? Look what price did before The entry came along. It built liquidity for us. So yes, it makes sense logically to take these. I hope this is what your question was based on. Dan, let me know if it is. It's a very good example and a good very okay, perfect. Yeah. But yeah, this specific situation, you have to understand if you guys aren't familiar or aren't comfortable with this kind of stuff yet, I did make a video on in the WAP called I believe it's General Rule System. Correct me if I'm wrong for the guys that have watched it. Um, but you have to understand, you have to get that pattern um, vision out of your head if you're still stuck on that. Okay? Because if you zoom out and understand the bigger perspective of direction here, where do we need to go? Up here. That's it. Right? So you don't need the most pin perfect entry. Okay? But in order for me to take this buy entry here, I need to see this occur from low to high. Does that all make sense to you guys? 100%. Nice. Good stuff. Okay. Let's move on to the next question here. One thing I've learned was like you said, higher time frame is everything. I've seen so many people have ideas in the chat, and like you come back and say like, wait for the lows to get taken. You wouldn't necessarily see it on the lower time frame, but zoom out and everything gets clear. Yeah, 100%. And I also get a lot of questions sometimes where people are like, oh, where do you see this EU going to next, or where do I see GU going to next? And if I go on the high time frames and I don't see anything, right? I don't have a good sense of direction, then I have no idea where the pair is going, right? So then people will send me like a lower time frame and be like, "Oh, I took a buy here. Why didn't it work out?" And I just told them an hour ago that I had no idea where the pair is going, so I don't know why it didn't work out, right? I have no sense of direction. So why am I gonna do my head in by trying to figure out where price is going if there's no setup in front of me, right? We're only supposed to be trading when there's a setup, right? We don't always need to know where price is going next. We literally don't. We're not getting paid to always know where price is going. Wait for your setups to come along. That's when you have a good idea, a good sense of idea of where pricing behaves next, where the direction is currently. Okay? We don't always like a lot of people will hop on not in their trading hours and just sit there at the chart and be like, where would price be going to now? Why does it matter? Why the fuck would you do your head in and try and figure out where we're going to next if it's not even your trading time, if it's not even your trading hours? It makes no sense logically. All you're doing is you're probably gonna take a shot to your confidence a little bit and just do your head in, right? Show up at the charts when it's your time to trade. Period. If there's no setup in front of you, don't trade. You don't always need to know where price is heading to next. We're not magicians. We're traders. Reality transferring top five book of all time. Check out the audio. I gotta yeah, text me that. I gotta look at that. I honestly I want to get into some audiobooks for sure. This is a very good. Oh, you messaged him privately. This is a very good example and a very good possibility with more certainty. Yeah, perfect. I'm glad I cleared the air there. I've been in IE for something like 5 to 6 months. Marco said it gets easier when you see the strat over and over, and I can confirm it does, guys. You just gotta keep at it. It's literally all about reps. That's it. And if you don't put that time and effort in and gain that experience, then it never will get easier, right? It always feel difficult. Um, but if you consistently show up every single day and you get reps in all the single every single day, you get that experience. Your confidence will naturally just grow. You'll show up on the charts. You'll be like, ah, I have no idea where price is going. Shut the screen off. Maybe come back in an hour. Still don't know where it's going. Shut the screen off. Okay, don't be that crackhead that goes, fuck, I don't really know where price is going. Then you go, let's go into the 5 minute. All right. You know what? Fuck it. Let's take a buy over here. I hopefully that higher time frame is gonna go long. Now don't do that. Please do not do that. Do that if you want to continue to lose. Don't do that if you want to have longevity in a game like there in an industry like this. I've got to leave the house. Sounds like there's going to be some gems. Of course, George, no worries, bro. We'll talk. So wait for liquidity to take it and then look for setup. I hope that was a rhetorical question. Wait for liquidity to get taken, then look for setup. Of course. Questions, guys? Anything else? Another good book is Psychology of Crowds by Gustave Le Bon. I have never heard of that one. If it's on psychology, I bet it will be a good one for sure. Like there's that one what's that one classic one everybody always reads? Uh Oh, confirm your say. Oh yeah, no worries, brother. Sounds good. Trading in the Zone. That's the one. Trading in the Zone is the one everybody reads. I have not read it yet. But it doesn't hurt to read it. So one day I will for sure. Well, not read it, sorry. Listen to it. I'll do an audiobook. For some reason, if I sit down and read a book, I don't know what it is, but I'll read a chapter or two chapters, and then I'll put the book away. I'll be like, I couldn't tell you a single thing I just read. Like I just, it's like I blindlessly read it. It's like I was in a black hole while I was reading. I don't even remember what I just read. I think it's just because I can't fucking concentrate. I don't know what it is. So maybe an audiobook is going to be the way for me. This fucking guy. Looks like Marco needs to get more reps in at reading. Honestly, I have zero confidence in my reading ability. Best loser wins also. Yes, best loser. Learning how to be a good loser, man. And that is something that not a lot of people know how to do. Even me sometimes. I don't like taking losses sometimes. It sucks, but it is what it is. If you can learn how to take a loss to the chin and fucking move on, you're 10 steps ahead of everybody. Okay? You take a loss in trading and you take it personally, oh man, that's when bad news starts happening, right? The market doesn't give a fuck about how you feel. Oh, you took a trade? Who cares? You'll take 20 more if you don't follow your plan. Becoming a good loser, learning how to be a good loser. When you take a loss, you take that shit to the chin, you move the fuck on, and you have that I don't care mentality. Oh man, like I said, you'll be 10 steps ahead of a lot of these people. You gotta highlight and annotate, read aloud, it helps. Probably, actually. I could see why that would work. Yeah, yeah, Marco, that's me. Audiobooks help. Yeah, honestly, maybe while I start doing when I'm doing my cardio, maybe I'll toss an audiobook on. That'll help. But like for example, tomorrow I love saving Riz's podcast for Sundays because tomorrow I do like 2 hours of cardio and I'm just gonna have the podcast on for 2 hours tomorrow, so that'll be a good time. So I haven't watched the roundtable yet, and if you guys, I don't know if you haven't watched it, but the it's a savage podcast apparently. And again, these guys on this table are like some of the best traders in the world. Um, so I'm pumped to watch that podcast tomorrow. Marco, I see that sometimes the liquidity blocks are different. Liquidity blocks are never different. They're the same concept. I definitely need to look at that route again. I know they must be points without liquidity, but I could be see that sometimes you consider the blocks without breaking the manipulation zone. I don't know what breaking the manipulation zone is. Marco, how do you feel your life outside of trading affects your trade? Oh, dude, I don't know if I've touched on this in the past actually, but before I got into this very like health and fitness lifestyle, I was a lazy piece of shit. Well, actually, I wasn't always lazy. Okay, like when I was growing up, I was destroying track and field, like short distance and mid distance at my high school. Like I was traveling to do like provincial stuff. I was very active, and I played soccer for a long, long time. Um, I like a decent high league. Honestly, I wasn't like a professional. I wasn't probably ever going to play professional, but I was pretty good. But nonetheless, I was active. I was super, super active. Then when I got out of high school, I stopped with any track stuff. I stopped. I quit soccer, or as you English people would say, I quit football. And then I started working full time as a plumber. This was when I was like 17. So this was like over 10 years ago. And I picked up smoking. I was smoking a pack a day every single day. Um, and I was working full time in plumbing. And I stopped all type of health and fitness, or not even overall health. I didn't care what I ate. I was never being active unless I was at work. Other than that, I was never active. No gym, no sort of cardio activities, nothing. Um, Even when I was learning trading and building the system, yes, I started making money in my outside life. Like my health and fitness life was still terrible. Like I was fat as shit. I had the worst habits. Um, but I'm telling you, as soon as I made that change, this was in 2020, end of 2023, I started running. Um, Everything changed for me, man. Like my the discipline, the mental strength. I've I'm a completely different person now. It's actually insane. The like if I compared myself to how I was 3 years ago, it's night and day different. So if anyone is thinking about going to the gym or picking up some sort of activity like running or biking or whatever it is, I highly recommend it. It does wonders for the mental, especially running. And I'll tell you why. Why does everyone hate running? Why do the people that not run hate running? Why do the people that not run don't want to start running? It fucking sucks. It sucks. Like it's not that fun, man. Like yes, when you get good, especially at the beginning, it sucks. When you get better and you see improvement, it starts getting fun. But when you start, man, it sucks. It sucks so much. It hurts. There's nothing good about it. But what you'll learn is when you do hard shit in life, when you do stuff you don't want to do, your mental strength fucking flies. Okay, your discipline flies. You stay consistent on doing things that are not fun. It just becomes a second nature to be doing things like that are hard that you don't want to do. So yes, going back to your question, it being consistent outside of the charts, off the charts, 100% has a direct translation to me being um consistent on the charts. I've noticed a night and day difference personally. Um, but it's literally changed my life, honestly. And I put I point my fingers to running the most. Being in the gym a lot and doing weights and stuff helps for sure. But nothing sucks more than running, and that's why I feel like running does wonders for the mental. But yeah, honestly, for example, going to gym, not going to gym, it's you know what matters the most? Those days where you're sitting down, and the clock is at the time where you're supposed to be going to the gym and you're supposed to go for that run and you don't want to. Those are the days that count the most, man. Like I low key, I don't want to go to the gym today after I finish this call, but because I have that mindset of I don't really want to go today. That's exactly why I'm gonna go because these days count the most. You build that mental strength from doing things that are hard and not fun to do, direct translation into your trading, direct translation. Anyone that says different is a fucking liar. The round table was insane. The same word calibrating came out. Oh my god, yeah. I cannot wait to watch the round table tomorrow. I'm gonna put that shit on while I'm doing cardio tomorrow. That's why I asked you because you haven't and I know it does, but your input on how it affects you might give an insight 100%. That's so cooked. If you had to, yeah, that is cooked. I smoked a pack a day for 5 years, 6 years. I started at 17, 18 years old and I smoked to like 24. So 5, 6 years. Um, and you got to think, I mean, that's not that long compared to people that smoke for like 20, 30 years. But when I started running, guys, it felt like my fucking chest was going to explode. So I started at ground zero. Okay. I started at the fucking bottom and I grinded to get to the where I am now, fitness wise, in my running and in the gym. I'd say my cardio is better than my strength. It's just, I do enjoy cardio more than strength, anyways, but that's just me. Everybody's different. If you had to pick two or three traits of people you have tutored who have made good progress in trading, what would they be? Um, that's a really good question. Being Finding a way to be numb to money, not looking at the money aspect of trading, like focusing on the quality of trading as a whole and letting money just be the byproduct. That is definitely one trait. Um, Two, again, I think I'm just gonna have to go back to just learning how to be a good loser. Taking a loss and just knowing, fuck it, who cares? There's gonna be a plenty of opportunities going forward. Shut the shit down, right? You don't need to make that loss back right now. You show up tomorrow and you never know. You can make a trade. You could take a trade that'll be 4 or 5 times that loss you just took. You never fucking know. So not being numb to money and not looking at the money side of things when it comes to trading. So focusing on the quality of trading as a whole, and two, um, learn how to be a good loser. I'd say the most two important traits. I hate running because I'm 102 kiloweights of fat lad and my thighs chain. Got to find a way. There's some big dudes I follow on Instagram that are savage runners. Like I'm talking sub 240 marathoners, and they're some big motherfuckers. What would be your steps to taking trading full time? I've talked about this briefly, I think, in the past. For myself, I know I went full time too early, unfortunately. I saved up a buffer into my bank account to take care of my bills for a good amount of time, but I didn't save enough, and I did rush into it. I feel like I think there could have been a more peace of mind kind of route I should have taken, meaning I hold on to a job, even like a part time job, for a little bit longer than I did, um, and then you'll know. There's not no definitive answer for this, but you'll know when it's time to go full time. Okay, you're making consistent payouts with prop firms for not a month, not 2 months, not 3 months, not even 4 months, like a year's time. You made like a salary with prop firms. Okay, then you'll know like fuck. Okay, like I know what I'm doing, right? Not that lucky shit where you pass one or two steps, you get one or two payouts, and you're like fuck it, I know everything. That you don't know everything because the next week you could easily blow that funded. Okay, so don't rush. And again, there's not really a definitive answer, but you'll know when it's time to go full-time trading. I'm starting to run again now, but I had a bad accident with a hemorrhage in my lung and I don't have much stamina anymore. For now, I can run. God damn, I don't know what a hemorrhage in a lung is, but that sounds insane. So one, they focus on the process. Two, they don't care about the loss and turn it off. That's literally it. That's literally it. Focus on the process of being a good loser, man. Like, and that's like that just means not bringing any emotions to the table, right? When you show up to this computer, no emotions can be involved. Um, Once emotions are involved, it's game over, right? You start making those irrational decisions. Toxic trading habits come around. Toxic trading habits come around, and that's when stupid mistakes happen. So you know what it is too, and I'm sure you guys have many of you guys have been there. But when you're trading and you take a loss, I know there's probably some of you in here that you feel like that emotion creeping in, right? And like you feel like you kind of like get a shiver and you're just like like that loss didn't sit with me well. Soon as you feel that shit coming in, shut the charts down because I promise you, even if you do find a trade and it ends up being a win, it will not be a fun win. Like you'll be antsy, you'll want to close early, maybe you be it too early, toxic habits, all these things come along. That's because now emotions are involved. When emotions are involved, you just don't make proper decisions. It's and you can't trade with emotions. It's fucking impossible. It's literally impossible. How should people who have started on IE approach the learning phase? How would you advise them for them to structure their time? Also, if you have been in other communities and have come to IE, what would you advise for structured learning? Grind, man. If you're new to the content, grind. Literally soak in as much content as possible. Everything that's uploaded on the WAP is valuable. It's not just posted there to look at, right? Especially the content that we've recorded individually, like outside of the webinars and stuff. There's some good stuff in there. So I would my best advice is don't rush it. Soak in as much content as possible. From the feedback, I've heard that webinars are a great thing to watch. In my experience with people in the past, I feel like case studies are a good thing to do because you get to see everything put together, right? You get to see the system get put together into one, and you see all the trades getting taken. So like you want to train your eyes to see those exact setups, right? Not pattern wise, but understand the setups and then translate them onto your charts. Good question though, Luke. Good stuff. How you finding futures on prop, dude? Futures are my favorite thing right now. I will not be going anywhere soon. Meaning I'm gonna stay on futures for the time being. I love the market. I love trading on TradingView. I love yeah, it's just such a clean market to trade. I like how specific time is as well. Like I hop on half an hour before stock open and I'm usually off 11 to 11:30. Very sometimes I'll have some alerts set and if they go off in the PM session, I'll take a quick peek, but yeah, overall I'm loving futures and I'm loving prop firms on the futures. You have to be careful what prop firms you choose though. If you guys are getting into futures, I recommend it's only three I recommend honestly. Alpha Futures, obviously, because I work with them now. So like, if there's ever any problems, I have a direct like, I have the CEOs I can contact, right? So if you guys ever have any issues, at least I have a direct person I can contact and like we can resolve the issues quickly, right? Any other firms you guys choose to go to, I don't I'm not close with any of these guys, right? So I can't really get into contact with anybody quick. So of course I'm gonna put Alpha number one. All right. I'm in direct contact with the owners, so if there's ever any issues, that's a massive plus. Okay. Two, My Funded Futures. Great firm, great rules. Definitely up there as well. And the third one, which is brand new, is Funded Ticks, which is funding Pips's version of the future side. So those three: Alpha Futures, My Funded Futures, and Alpha Funding Future or Funding Ticks. Sorry, those are the three firms I recommend. The other ones have some tricky rules, meaning trailing equity, um, which is a killer rule, especially for how I trade and stuff. Trailing equity is not a fun rule to be. Yeah, there you go. Trailing equity is ass. So yeah, be careful with some of those firms. Just message me privately if you have any questions. I'll help you as much as I can. How do you prepare well for the week normally, Marco? I mean, do you do market analysis on the weekend, meditation, nutrition? Okay, nutrition always. I eat very well all the time. I've completely cut out like sugar from my diet. I don't touch any of that shit. If I eat sugar, it's like from a cookie, like if my mom makes homemade cookies or something like that. But like I won't eat candy. I won't eat very rarely. I won't eat like potato chips and stuff like that. My only like junk food or snack would be like if I'm watching a movie, I'll have popcorn. So that's my nutrition. Meditation, I don't do meditation to be honest with you. Market analysis on the weekend, I don't really touch the charts on the weekend other than webinars and stuff. But what I'll usually do is I'll hop on a little earlier on the Monday, um, just to forecast the week, right? Get an idea of what the previous week did, weekly highs and lows. What does the weekly candle look like, and then start my week, right? Nothing too crazy though. Are you keeping the doors open, i.e., are you ever going to close them and keep it a sealed community? That's funny that you said that. I'm not sure, and I don't really want to speak on anything yet, but we'll see in the coming future. I might be it might be a live trading only company in the future, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not going to speak on anything yet because nothing is permanent. As of right now, we're running how we're running. Um, but yeah, we'll see in the future. The problem is, the education side of things gets exhausting sometimes. I actually genuinely love teaching trading. There is no better feeling in the world than seeing people progress in trading with like the system I built and like through my teachings, right? Like it's a next level feeling. Like when people receive payouts, people pass challenges and stuff. Um, it's crazy. But it also comes with a lot of headaches sometimes, unfortunately. Um, with the lazy people, right? And unfortunately, like I get some nasty messages sometimes. People thinking like I'm not doing this to help people and a lot of bullshit. And I know it's not for most of you, but yeah, there's some people that join the group and I can tell they half-ass the learning side of things. They expect immediate results and then they immediately point the finger at me because who else they're going to point the finger at, right? They're not going to point the finger at themselves. So I don't know. As of right now, we're gonna do what we do, and we'll go from there in the future. We'll see. I'm not sure. I have watched all the case studies multiple times. Currently watching them again now. Doesn't hurt to, man. When I was uh, when I was in my learning stages, I literally just there was sometimes I make case studies and I would rewatch them as well, like my own. Doesn't hurt to. Same here, man. Prop firms on futures are very difficult with rules. Very difficult. The if you choose those shit ones like Apex, Top Step, um, I think Tradeify. Those ones are like they're not easy firms to trade with. The three I recommend are good to trade with. That's why I'm using them personally. Yeah, the trailing equity, especially with our strategy, it's annoying. In your learning phase of putting this strat together, how did you protect your time? Did you say no to many things to make sure you made progress? Um, how did you protect your time? Did you say Are you saying like outside of the charts, Luke? Like did I make a lot of sacrifices and stuff? Like going out, dude. I was a fucking ghost. I remember there was this one year, 2022, I think. And there was the winter time. I was on this retarded sleep schedule, and I don't ever recommend this, but I would wake up at like 5, 6 p.m. 5, 6 p.m. So like dinner time. I'd have dinner with my family, and then I'd be on the charts till London close, 11 a.m. 11 a.m. 12 p.m. the next day. Okay, so that was like uh over 12 hours, like 12 to 14 hours of just straight chart time. This was like for a whole winter at one point. And I didn't never went outside. I honestly I got fat. I was fucking pale as shit. I never saw the daylight because I was sleeping through the day. Um I don't recommend this, but like yeah, there was a time where I didn't see anybody for a good while and I was just a ghost. Grind mode. I'm not saying that's what it takes, but that's what I thought and yeah, I needed and it took for me, right? But yeah, that was an interesting time, especially looking back at that. Sneak peek March 31st. Yeah, March 31st. We got some good stuff coming. Good stuff coming. Some big changes, and we got some big plans for the future as well. Me and Abbott have been talking about some good stuff. Um, you mentioned previously that you have been in Astro, for example. Oh my God, I remember that. How did you stay motivated to carry on your journey? Also, for people who have come into IE from previous and other communities, what would you say to them to keep pursuit trading? Do you think they have to put habits in place to build discipline in place for them when motivation is low? Man, motivation is bullshit. It's temporary. Um, if you go through life just hunting for motivation, and always looking for something that'll motivate you, it's a poor way of going about things, in my opinion. It's all about discipline. It is all about discipline. Motivation comes and goes. That shit is so temporary. Um, Trading is gonna be it's inevitable. You're gonna go through the lowest of lows and highest of highs. Sometimes you're gonna feel like you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and sometimes you're gonna feel like you're Bill Gates. Um, that's what trading is. It's never gonna get to a point where it's gonna be super easy, and it's never gonna get to a point where it's gonna be super hard again. It's always gonna be you're always gonna be on both sides of the spectrum, right? It's gonna be easy sometimes. It's gonna be very hard sometimes, and that's why this industry is so difficult. But yeah, man, like when I was an Astro, there was a time where I got scammed for like 5-6 grand US, which was so shit financially as well because I wasn't really making money at the time, right? So taking a $5,000-6,000 hit like that was shit. But it's all worth it in the end. You gotta understand that no trading journey is gonna be just this, right? It's gonna, as like cheesy as it is, it's gonna be like a chart, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Sometimes when you feel like you're at the lowest of lows, you're gonna go to the highest of highs. You just gotta keep pushing. Right? Hard work is key. It's king. Literally, success is inevitable through hard work. Period. Efficient hard work, I'll say. Um, I'm trying to get the good question out, Marco, in case anyone's wondering. Yeah, you're asking some good fucking questions. Everybody else is staying silent. What's going on over here? All your trades taken with um all your trades taken with pendants? What do you mean by pendants? Maybe I'm reading that wrong. Maybe I'm tripping. Oh, pendings, limit orders. Um, no. Market executions, literally 80-90% of the time. Market executions. Almost every single trade is market execution, honestly. When is IE buying FTMO? Funny guy. Funny guy. FTMO is killing it. They're the king of the. If you guys are able to use FTMO, there's literally only honestly there's three firms I'll trust on the FX side of things. If you guys are trading FX, it's gonna be again Alpha because I have a direct contact, so any issues, you know what I mean? Like we already went through. Alpha, FTMO, and Funding Pips. Those are the three firms I recommend. In my opinion, those are the best firms to be using, which will provide you more than enough funding. Even one firm is enough. Damn, I'm so late. No worries, Nuno. It's all been recorded, so you can catch the recording too. I'm with Fivers. These guys are tough. Spreads are cool as well. Yeah, I mean, I always tell you guys like literally from my end, all I can do is tell you which firms I trust. At the end of the day, if you want to go to a different firm, it's up to you. It is. In my opinion, and maybe this will influence a decision in the future for you. even though some firms might be cheaper or some spreads might be better, you got to look at the end result. Like, are they trustworthy, right? If their challenges are cheaper, what's the point if they're not going to pay you out if you make profits on their funded account, right? I'd rather pay a little bit more to have that sense of security to know that, okay, if I make profits on the funded account in the future, there should be no issues and I'm going to be getting paid, right? But again, at the end of the day, all I can do is recommend the firms I recommend. You guys can choose which ones to go to, right? What would you say to people who have family or close friends that think trading is a waste of time and maybe they're yet to make progress? Um, it's a hard one, man. Uh, fuck, Luke, this guy's got too good of questions for me. Man, anything hard in life is not going to come easy. Anything worth it is not going to come easy. So like you look at what trading can give you in the future, like this freedom, this like what other industry can pay you this kind of money where you press a couple buttons and you'll make $10,000 in the morning, right? There is no industry. But then what other industry can you work your ass off day in and day out, not make any money, okay? But not only not make any money, but lose money. Okay, there's no other industry that does that too. So there's two ends. It's a fucking it's a hard, and that's why I don't know what the exact percentile of the amount of people that make it or even just pull money out of the markets is, but that's why it's so low, right? It's the hardest industry to get into. It's the hardest industry to get down, but it's the most rewarding. What's your thought process when you open TradingView? Do you look at what Asia did, London did? So at the beginning of the week, always always only listen to people who you want to emulate. Exactly. That's a good point. Good point, Elijah. What's your thought process when you open TradingView? Look at what Asia did, London. And so my kind of whole routine, I guess you'd say, is beginning of the week. Like I said, Monday I usually tend to hop on a little bit earlier than I usually do, just to be, so I can frame out the week coming around. Like maybe the higher time frame, like previous week's highs and lows. Again, looking at how the previous week candle looks like, just getting ready to view what the week could possibly look like. And that's why I hop on a little bit on Monday on a daily basis, on a daily routine. Yes, of course. I want to see what Asia did. I want to see what London did and then frame out what I can see in New York, right? If I saw Asia have a decent sized move and then London had a big move too, it's only inevitable. What do you think New York's going to do? Right? New York's probably going to be chopping the hell around, right? Asia had a good sized move, London had a good sized move. Right then and there I could tell you there like New York's going to be quite dead, right? And again, this is what brings me back to what we were talking about at the beginning. um, with the benefit of hindsight, you could always go into the 1 minute time frame and be like, there's an entry here, there's an entry here. But you want to always position yourself in conditions where probabilities are as high as possible, right? So, do I want to be trading when Asia and London had a pretty good move in New York? No, I don't. That's how I just kind of frame out things, right? Especially with like when you look at Forex Factory news events. Okay, for example, let's say FOMC is on a Wednesday. Most likely, the morning session of New York on Wednesday is going to be shit, right? It's going to be slow. It's going to be choppy, building liquidity on both sides. Why? FOMC is in a couple hours, right? FOMC usually has a big move. For a big move to occur, we need to have liquidity in the market, right? So, do I want to be trading when the market's building liquidity? Probably fucking not. I've got a beard envy over Nuno's beard. This guy. I heard a quote. It's not your 9 to 5 that is killing your dreams. It's your 5 to 10. Ooh, I think that is Hermosa. Yeah, I remember that one. What are your thoughts on buying multiple funded example? Buy 25 account, pass, make a trade profit, buy another 25, repeat. Um, no, that's fine. We'll touch on that quick. I know a lot of people when they go to the prop firm route, they immediately go for like a 100K count or 200K count, and that's where you'll just screw yourself big time. Mentally you just can't handle those numbers yet. So my best advice is start off at like 10K, 25K, and then build yourself up from there. Pass the 25K. Tell yourself that okay, I can pass the 25. You pass the 25. Buy 50. Pass the 50. Then maybe move to the hundreds, the 200s, etc., etc. But you want to start from a lower number and work your way up. It's just going to be easier mentally. Where did you train before creating your strategy? Initially, I thought lit or oh yeah, a couple people have said that to me. No, um, I learned before I traded how I trade. I learned from Riz, Smart Money Concepts. So like just break your structures, basic liquidity stuff. That's how I used to trade. Nuno, all this shit, man. I've been through it. Many other people have been through it. This stuff is it's almost inevitable and it's necessary. Anything that you experience new in trading, it's inevitable that you're gonna experience these roadblocks, right? These little issues, these problems. Um, you'll pass challenges. Now you'll feel like, hey, passing challenges is no problem now, and you'll get to that point. But yes, of course, you get to a funded account. Now you're trading real money. You're gonna not real money, but you're trading an account where you can receive profits out of. You're gonna naturally experience new emotions, new problems, but understand this is all necessary and all completely normal. As a benchmark, what percentage strike rate would you put with this strategy? Some people might feel like they're at a point in winter rally, they're doing just fine. Okay, so is a hard question to answer. Like, put yourself in my shoes. Like, how do I answer this, right? You have to understand, everybody's different. Everybody is different at the end of the day. Some people like trading more than others. Some people have a bigger stop loss than others. Some people trade certain time frames. There's all these different factors, right? So I can only talk for myself. And myself, I experience strike rates from anywhere from 35 to 50%. But I don't care a lot about my strike rate. Okay. What I care about is, am I profitable over a month, like a period of a month, right? Or a week or 2 weeks, right? Some of the most profitable, and listen to this carefully, some of the most profitable traders in the world have a 30% strike rate. Think about that. A 30% strike rate. It's not all about having the highest strike rate. And people that claim they have 70, 80% strike rate, I'll tell you right now, it's a bunch of horse shit. Okay. If you're anywhere from 40 to 50%, very respectable. Very, very respectable. Even if you're in the high 30s, completely fine. How do you deal with negative thoughts, not only in trading, but in general and in life? I read that we have 60,000 thoughts a day. Holy shit. I didn't know that. If you don't monitor them, most are negative. Oh man, I'm not too sure. That's a hard one for me to answer. Uh, I'm not sure, but a little side note I'll say is, I remember I think it was Raja Banks. He was talking about how humans can only make 2 or 3 emotional decisions per day in like one sleep awake cycle. After that, that's when emotions start um, creeping in too much, and you start making decisions based off emotion. Okay, so think about that with trading. If you take 2 losses on the day, that's when most likely emotions are going to be creeping into your mental, and you're going to be start making some stupid decisions, right? So that's an interesting point. But why I did not know that we have 60,000 thoughts a day. It's kind of crazy, and most of them are negative. Wow. Journaling. I currently practice this daily. I write my negative thoughts down and then I replace it with positive memory or experience. I like that. Also, if you don't monitor, you'll have the same thoughts as yesterday. That's true. Got a rule out. Great questions to answer. Talk to you all soon. Take it easy, brother. We'll talk in a bit. Da Vinci setups are high. I've killed the spelling. You know what I mean. Da Vinci. Da Vinci. My favorite setups. My favorite setups. It's not doesn't mean I only take Da Vinci setups. When those setups come, man, and they look clean, like it's delivered clean, that's when I size in. When I want to size in. Have you ever heard of the cycle of the day in the market? Have you ever used it? I have heard of it. I don't really touch too much into that. No. If you had any advice for the market that was an asterisk try to learn, what would it be? Um, leave that community right now and do your own thing. Fuck Astro. That place was a waste of time. Unfortunately. Well, actually, you know what? I met Riz because of Astro. So now he's one of my closest friends. See how everything aligns like that? So I say fuck Astro, but man, Me meeting Riz is worth way more than $6,000. Actually, you know what? It was more because that was 5,000 US, so that was like almost 8,000 Canadian. So meeting Riz was worth way more than $8,000. Fuck Sean Lee, let's all fight him. That guy is a twat. I feel like everything that happens in your journey needed to happen. Man, it's so true. It's almost like it's all necessary, right? No journey is ever like this in any industry, right? You think about people that start businesses, um, or anything like that. No, no journey is just like this. It's a bunch of horseshit. You're gonna go through some shitty times, but man, I'm almost thankful for the really shitty low times because that's when the most growth comes. Literally, think about it. When you're at the lowest of lows and you made some mistakes, that's when the growth is coming. That's when you're gonna become better. Think about it, right? Be thankful for those shit times. You'll notice it later in hindsight. Good stuff, boys. Wow, I was actually I really enjoyed that. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up? This was a solid call though. So I appreciate you guys, the ones that came out today. Luke asked about 20 questions, banger questions too. Appreciate you. Can Abbott send me a tenner? Oh man. Abbott's making his transition to futures right now. He said, I've taken too much money from the Forex market. He wants to take some from the futures market now. Oh man. But yeah, keep an eye out, boys. Next Sunday, you'll see like what we're doing. Because I said 31st is next Monday is when everything will be intact, like live and stuff. But next Sunday, you'll see how we're gonna be running things going forward. So it'll be good. What about an IE meetup for sure? We'll sort one in the future. We will for sure sort one in the future. Honestly, just because of how easy it is, it'll probably be somewhere in Europe, right? UK or something. Because most people are out on that side. All right, boys. We'll wrap up here. I gotta go do some fun stuff at the gym. A little bit of legs, a little bit of cardio. But that was a good time. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. Again, thanks for the questions. Thanks for hanging out. That was a solid call. Awesome, Craig. Appreciate you, bro. Take it easy, guys. I will see you guys on the Discord on Monday. All right. Ciao. Take it easy.